Today we're going to be going over 7 fragrances that leave an intoxicating scent trail. These smell great up close, don't get me wrong, but when you catch a whiff of them in the air, it's next level. I find that to be the case with some fragrances more than others, where they smell better when you catch a whiff of it up in the air versus smelling it directly. And that's kind of the experience that I've had with these. My opinion on these have changed when I was able to catch a whiff of it in the air versus, just testing it on my own, and it does make a difference. And so what I'm going to do is link everything that I talk about today down below to fragrance discounters. We're going to get things kicked off with YSL L'Homme. It's the Le Parfum version. Now we've got geranium, amberwood, ozonic notes, all of that good stuff here in L'Homme Le Parfum. The easiest way to describe this one, and it's super simple, it's YSL L'Homme mixed with a bit of Eau de Parfum. So you still get that ginger, gentlemanly smelling L'Homme smell, that kind of classic, refined, elegant smell, mixed with a little bit of a modern day YSL amberwood, geranium-based blue scent style. That's kind of what this one is in a nutshell. And it just so happens that I personally love YSL L'Homme, and I also really like Eau de Parfum and Eau de Parfum Intense and so on. And so it makes sense that I enjoy this one so much. When you spray this one right on your hand or on a tester strip or just apply it directly to yourself when you smell it, it smells wonderful. You really understand what this one is all about off the first spray. It doesn't take a whole lot of studying to figure out this one. But when you are able to catch a smell of it up in the air, whether it's your own scent trail that you've generated and then walk back through, or somebody else is wearing it, you kind of start to respect the scent even more, and it makes you like it even more. It works really well in that scenario. Usually around $90 to $100 for this one. Used to be $80 all day long, but that price has nudged up a little bit. Still very reasonable for what it's worth, and you could never buy L'Homme and Eau de Parfum for $100, right? You would be spending, close to double that. So this works out to be a pretty good deal. This next one is Armani Acqua di Gio Elixir. I've had a bit of a change of heart with this one, like I've discussed in a few past videos, and it has grown on me. It's still not quite going to take the place of Parfum and Profondo and things like that, but definitely something where I'm reaching for it more than I would the Eau de Parfum, of course, more than the Eau de Toilette, things like that. It's just price point is the only downside to this one, really. This one has violet leaf, leather, watery notes, some bergamot in here, fresh, citrusy, aquatic, and the leather accord. A little bit of an interesting twist, not usually found in aquatic fragrances, and at least to the best of my memory, has never been used in an Acqua di Gio flanker. We've had incense and patchouli and things like that, but never leather. And I've got to say, it works really well here. It's not overly prominent, so this is definitely not a leather scent, right? Not that we would expect it to be, but it's not. It's there just enough to kind of give you a little bit of a unique twist on this relatively familiar Acqua di Gio DNA. Of course, this DNA is very widespread and very common. However, this flanker is different enough to stand out from that. And the whole idea behind the video is that it smells amazing up in the air. It kind of has a little bit more of a smooth smell to it in the air versus applying it and then smelling it directly. And I've found that to be the case with Acqua di Gio Profumo and Parfum as well. Sometimes can be maybe just a little bit harsh off the opening, but when you kind of catch a whiff of it, it really is a different story altogether. And I kind of view this one in a similar way, where I prefer smelling it up in the air. And so the idea is that, that's how people are going to smell you. Chances are they're not going to be right up on you, smelling you directly. They're going to be catching a whiff of it as you walk by or enter and exit a room. And so when fragrances really smell amazing in that type of situation, that's a big bonus, especially for those of you who are really wanting to get some compliments. And something like Acqua di Gio Elixir is going to do that. It's a great performer as well. That is a bonus. It's expensive, but the performance at least isn't horrible. In fact, it's really good. So that if the performance was bad, this one would be a really hard pass, but luckily it's not. Let's go for something that is actually pretty affordable, kind of cheapy price. It's LaCoste Eau Fraiche. Technically, it's LaCoste L1212 Blanc Eau Fraiche. Just to clarify, because I think there are a couple of different LaCoste Eau Fraiche fragrances. This one, as you can see here, and then the back has this texture. Maybe they all have that actually, now that I think about it. And the note breakdown is grapefruit, ginger, lemon, and apple. So that'll tell you a little bit more too. The year release would be the best way to identify this between the others, but I don't remember off the top of my head when this one was released, like maybe 21, 22 or something like that. Either way, it's one I've had ever since it first came out, which feels like it's been for a little while, and I've gotten use out of this one more than I thought I would. It's something that doesn't look all that exciting or crazy or unique on paper, and in fairness, it's not super unique or really all that exciting, so that kind of it makes sense. However, it is still actually a little bit different than a lot of other citrusy, fresh summer fragrances that I do have in my collection at this point. This is the textbook example of a fragrance that you cannot go wrong with. I mean, it's basically, it's citrus and a bit of musk, and that's really what this is from start to finish. There's not a situation that you couldn't wear this. I don't think you could find a person who is repulsed by something like this. So if you just want to play it safe, check out LaCoste L1212 Blanc Eau Fraiche. And if you have a chance to toss this to a buddy and have him wear it so you can kind of smell it in the air, just, you know, wafting through the air, I would recommend it. If not, spray it on yourself and do a couple laps and then maybe come back in and see if that does it for you. Sometimes, as long as you don't spray it on the front part of your body, that works. And so you can kind of catch that for yourself, but it's almost like a completely different scent in the air, which is pretty cool. This next one is Allure Detour Noir. Of course, a Parfums de Marly Layton clone. Layton is it's a work of art. It's a beautiful scent. It's got that menthol smell and then just a ton of vanilla and tonka bean and apple and just a bunch of sweet notes. It's a very sweet scent with that kind of green minty menthol kick off the opening, which is, you can smell it, but the way I describe it is more you can feel it. You know, like when you smell like actual menthol, like you can feel it in your nose. That's kind of how that feels when you smell it. And this does carry over into a Detour Noir, or the clone here, which is about $20. And I think it's pretty cool that they were to replicate that as well. Just a nice little detail there. I love how Layton smells, and because of that slightly sharp nature off the opening of Layton and Detour Noir, when you smell it up close, maybe it is a bit harsh, but when you catch it in the air, you catch the sillage or the sillage, whatever you want to call it. It's two ways to say it, I guess. Sillage. Then it's kind of, again, a different scent entirely. And to me, it smells way better when you catch it that way. Detour Noir has great performance, just like Layton. Not quite as strong, but still good, great performance. Better than most $20 scents, we'll put it that way. So that's kind of not going to be a concern for something like this. If you want a clone of Layton that is not only very close, but also long lasting and just something that works great for fall, winter time, check out Detour Noir. This next one is Carner Barcelona Elborn. Has this beautiful Madagascar vanilla with some Peru balsam in here. It is, I mean, it's one of the best vanilla fragrances that I've ever smelled. You get a little bit of honey as well, so it really adds to this syrupy sweetness. And one thing that is not listed off, but I get, and they say it's Madagascar vanilla, I'm sure it is, but to me, it's like legitimately a bourbon vanilla. This smells like vanilla, honey, sweet, balsamic with just a bottle of bourbon dumped into it. So very much a boozy scent. From start to finish, it's always been like that for me. That was the thing that really stood out the most to me and was surprising. I didn't think it was going to be that way, but it definitely is, and I love it. This was not a blind buy. I got a sample of it a very long time ago and immediately went out and bought not one, but probably I think two at least bottles. And they did change them. This is my older bottle, and so they had the logo here. The new Carner Barcelona fragrances don't have the logo on the front anymore. It's just like the name of the brand and the name of the fragrance here on the label, and that logo's gone. So there's a little bit of a different look. I believe the newer bottles also aren't this rich in color as well. So another difference there, visual differences. As far as the scent goes, there's really not a whole lot of a difference at all, and it's not worth trying to find old bottles like this and paying a bunch of money for it. It just doesn't make a whole lot of financial sense, although you can do what you want, but I wouldn't really do that. Mine looks this way because I bought it years ago. This is definitely not going to be for everybody, so please keep that in mind. I'm not recommending that you go out and blind buy this unless you know what you like. And if you love vanilla fragrances to a high regard, chances are you will like this. If you're kind of on the fence, or you kind of like some but not all, I would not blind buy. I would, try to grab a sample first somewhere. This smells really nice up close, but when you smell it in the air, again, a completely different fragrance. It is just mind-blowing how good this smells. It's addicting, it's mysterious. It definitely would have people following you around for sure. Fall and winter time for this one only. It's way too sweet for summer. Let's go for something that nobody talks about. I'm not even being sarcastic. I don't think anybody talks about this anymore. Chanel Allure Homme. You hear that, and then you're probably thinking, oh, what is it going to be? Allure Homme Sport, Sport Eau Extreme, Edition Blanche, Cologne. What's he going to talk about? No, it's just Chanel Allure Homme. Like, nobody talks about this original. This one has vanilla, lemon, peach, tonka bean, and some orange, black pepper, and then just a whole bunch more too. If you go look at the note breakdown, there's a lot more, but those are kind of the standout notes, the ones that are the most prominent, that are worth focusing on. It is just great. It needs no introduction because the entire lineup is so popular, but at the same time, the entire lineup is so popular, not this one. And I don't know, I don't think this original Allure Homme probably ever took off like Sport Eau Extreme and regular Sport and so on. I just don't really think that it probably did. It's been out for a long time too, but it definitely could have. I think this still is such an amazing smell that it could easily be a popular hyped up scent. I mean, it's not gonna happen now, but it could have been. Fresh, creamy, citrusy, but also still sweet, alluring, right? And inviting. The name could not be more fitting, not only for this, but to be fair, for the entire lineup. Chanel, they're strategic. They don't put out new fragrances once or twice a year, nowhere close. But man, I'll tell you, they have created some of the best designer fragrances for men. The Bleu de Chanel's and the Allure Homme line, some of the best fragrances that money can buy, in my opinion. And even though this one is old and nobody talks about it, it is amazing. I did a spray in the air. That's a good way to go about it. And it smells great up in the air. It smells better spraying it that way than if I were to just do it right on my skin and smell it right away. But actually getting it on skin and then creating that scent trail after it's been kind of activated by your body heat, it's next level. Check out Chanel Allure Homme. We're gonna finish this video off with a niche fragrance that is one of my absolute favorites. It's one that I sometimes forget how much I love. I don't wear it as much as I would like to in winter, and then spring comes around and I regret it. So I will change that this year. It is Roarfam's Enigma, okay? It's got that cognac, tobacco, vanilla, tonka bean, and a whole bunch of other notes as well. It is absolutely breathtaking. I mean, amazing, fizzy, like cola smell with this gourmand sweetness and this strong boozy accord. It's mature, it smells like a gentleman, smells like pure money and class and elegance. And yes, it is a niche fragrance. At retail, it's very expensive. At discounters, still expensive. You can get it for like 165 bucks right now, 100 ml. That's, pretty in line with a lot of new designers, and actually Sauvage Elixir 60 ml for 140, Roja Enigma 100 ml for 165. This is actually cheaper price per milliliter wise, talking discounter to discounter pricing here. Just kind of something crazy to think about, but it is the case. And if that doesn't make you just feel like a change of heart, you know, when for years niche has been so outrageous and designers have been reasonable, and now the tables are almost turning. They're making the bottle sizes smaller to kind of make it seem less expensive. It's kind of crazy. This stuff smells amazing. Of course, it's in the video for a reason. Smells great on skin up close, but when you really catch a whiff of it in the air, the sillage, the sillage, I haven't made up my mind on what way to say it. I think it's sillage is what I'll go with, but either way, definitely check it out. Add it to your collection for this fall and winter time. Alrighty guys, I'm gonna link everything down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.